All right, welcome back to Rose Speaks, with special guest Aaron motherfucking Dickman. Say hello to
Honor to be
everyone.
here.
You guys
Honor to be
don't. I
here.
couldn't get Jaden Daniels, but I could get the second best person we could get. Um, we got a good one for you guys, and I'm looking forward to having Dickman around for as many fucking episodes as I can get him. Got anything to say to your league mates, my boy?
No, I mean, just want to say a lot of people are entitled to their opinions, but now it's my turn to talk. So, looking forward to a good show, some hard cutting conversations. We're going to be talking about some pretty in-depth topics. So, strap on your seatbelt and get ready for a good show.
Let's go. Dickwood speaks. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be the first time where, and obviously, because we had one podcast last week, but this is the first time where I'm actually talking to someone. So this will be some good banter.
Let's do
Um,
it.
all right, so like last week, let's get into a little college football. I was thinking, just because for me, in the survey that was wanting, well, I wanted to ask kind of one question: which do you like more, the NFL or college football? Because this year, to me, college football has been kind of supreme. Um, I I like sit down on Saturday and I'm excited for every game. Where on Sunday, I just feel like maybe it's because of fantasy or maybe it's because of betting, but I'm just like so out of it, and it just like makes me sad. Um, which it shouldn't, but college football is just like so much more exciting with the um, with all the kind of fan support, with just like the parity and more teams. I don't know. Let's look at some college football scores this week. I mean,
Well, I
Penn
got a quick
State,
question before we get into it.
what
So
you got?
I'm not the biggest college football follower,
Okay.
and I was actually wondering myself this weekend. So, who are the Heisman candidates this year?
Ooh, okay. So I have a big bet for Cam Ward, who's the quarterback for Miami. He's this transfer that they got out of this small school. Um, I'll have it for next time what school, but he's insane. He looks like Jaden Daniels 2.0. Like he can fucking
Damn.
sling the ball down the field, but then he can also kind of run it. And
Hmm.
he looks amazing. After the first game, I watched him and I was like, all right, I'm putting down $100 on him to win the Heisman. Uh,
Okay, I've heard of him. I've heard
yeah,
his name.
there's Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been insane. Uh,
Can't say I heard of him.
yeah, but him and Nico, the Tennessee quarterback. I don't know how to say his last name. It's like Umalileo or something like that. Uh, but they're like co-seconds. Tennessee's been great. They just cooked. Cooked Oklahoma. They beat them 25-15, but they were up like 25-7 going into like the last drive. And Oklahoma just put up
Okay, okay, okay.
Utah beat Oklahoma State, which was big. Yeah, so we have some shakeups in the kind of top 25 because BYU murdered Kansas State, so now they're both ranked. Um,
Oh yeah. So I heard that. So one, I heard pretty cool thing. The BYU quarterback is Jewish. Um,
oh, one of
the other
us.
thing I heard, who'd you say they played?
They played Kansas State.
So the talk of the town is that a Kansas State fan said he was going to shove Doritos Locos Tacos or whatever
Yes.
up his ass.
Yeah.
But
I
I haven't heard.
personally would have chosen Chipotle just because they're a little bit smaller than Doritos Locos, but I saw that.
Oh, I mean, my burrito I get that's a big beefy burrito from Chipotle.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know,
yeah.
peppers and beans and
At least it's got like the
no
circle.
guac though. No, none of the extra shit. None of that. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, I saw that too. That's it seems to be like whoever makes some like a decision like that where they're gonna be like, because that happened in the first game. Someone was like, fuck, I'm forgetting the team, but someone was like, if my team loses, I'm gonna eat. Oh, Florida State. They were like, if Florida State loses, I'm eating dog shit. And then they lost. And then he either doubled down the second week or just went dark. Um, and now they've been losing sets. I guess they won last week, but they barely won. They're not good.
mhm.
But yeah, I saw that BYU. I had money on BYU, and that was a thrashing. It was like 7-0 going into like 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and then with 3 minutes, like with 12 minutes in the third quarter, it was like 28-7. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah. Michigan won, which sucks, but it might be good for us because it kind of shows
They
USC's
played
weakness.
USC, right?
Yeah, Big Ten matchup, big Big Ten matchup. Everybody does
Yeah.
classic
Don't
Big Ten matchup.
don't like that still, but
And
that's okay. That's okay.
I know. I mean, it's gonna be better for us because we get to see better games. But it is kind of weird having USC in the Big Ten. It just doesn't make sense. Um, we had Penn State absolutely thrashing Kent State. That was a murder sesh. Drew Aller looks like he's also in the running for Heisman. He's been fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, we beat him 56-0, and it was like 7-0 with like 6 minutes left in the second or something like that, and then we ended up winning, being up 28-0 at half. It was kind of a just like a bang bang bang.
It's one of those games you just feel for those, just hope none of those Kent State guys get hurt.
Oh, and a lot of them got hurt. I'm pretty sure they were down to like their third string quarterback. Their running back like got absolutely blown up. Um, yeah, no, those guys should not take games against Penn
Yeah.
State.
I've never played football with pads, but I just imagine those Kent State guys are playing with the fear of God in them.
Yeah, no, they were showing a stat that was our offensive linemen against their defensive linemen, the weights, and it was like we're 60 pounds, 70 pounds more on average, which is like that's like
Those some big boys.
an adult human being more than the other.
I'm ready to go play against some middle schoolers.
Yeah, right. Like I could probably shove around. Um, yeah. All right. So that's college football. It was a good kind of slate. Again, I'm loving it. And we have Alabama, Georgia this week. So,
Ooh, all right. I got that circled.
oh yeah, I might have to take.
So now, is real quick, in terms of the title favorites, is Georgia? Are they looking like they're top dogs?
I'm thinking Texas looks like. I mean, Texas is number one on the polls, and they look like they're amazing. I mean, they're on their second string, and their second string is Archie Manning, who could
That's
probably be
right.
a starting QB for any other team. Um, they look good. Georgia, I mean, looks good, but they had a bad loss last or 2 weeks ago, and then they had I mean, not a bad loss. They had a bad win. They won by like two against Kentucky, and then they had a bye this
Mm.
past week. So like, who knows? I mean, their team's still amazing. They cooked Clemson to start the season, but Bama looks good. I think Tennessee looks amazing with their Heisman candidate Nico. Um, Ole Miss looks good. We look good. Penn State
Penn
looks good.
State.
We
All
don't see
right.
there's not a
Heard
lot
it
of
here.
holes.
Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. Penn State national champions.
I love it. I love it.
Um, but yeah, there's some good teams. Ohio State, obviously, they have this young fucking. They have a 17-year-old wide receiver that's catching 2 touchdowns a game. It's just unfair.
That feels illegal.
It feels like he can't be making money on his own name, so maybe that's why they went to get a 17-year-old because they're like, all right, well, no NIL money
Sounds
for
like
you.
that's like child labor to me. That should be
Yeah,
investigated.
actually, and he's not. It's not just labor; he's getting decked. So it's like I don't know. It's fucked up.
Child endangerment. It's
Yeah,
a lot of dangerous sport. Child endangerment.
exactly. Yeah. All right, NFL. Uh, we can start with the first slate. Philadelphia got a big win against the Saints. What do you think about Philly this year?
I mean, I've never been super in on the team. I thought Saquon was a really exciting signing. I thought they made a couple moves on the defensive end. One being CJ Gardner Johnson. The other
Yes.
move that seemed exciting that hasn't panned out was Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
Um, I think that there's definitely some holes to this team. Um, and I didn't want to say this, but particularly at the quarterback position,
Oh,
I'm a little bit worried
I'm
there.
still.
But I think that, it's a long season.
Yeah.
They've only played, I guess now 3 games together under a new offensive coordinator, new
Sure, take
defensive
some time.
coordinator. So I'm willing to give them a little bit of time. It was, the injuries, those are definitely starting to pile up a little bit. I think that if we can get A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson all back and healthy, it'll make Jalen Hurts look much better.
Yeah.
And it was a really encouraging game from Jalen Carter, who supposedly had the greatest game of defensive tackles ever played,
Oh,
according to
did
the nerds on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean to the
And
failure
I
especially.
did, I did watch some film, and he did look pretty good.
No,
So I'm going to choose to
he
believe
looked
him.
great. Yeah, I had money on the Eagles, so I was like watching every defensive possession because the Saints have been cooking on offense. And you guys, I mean, you guys shut them down realistically. Like, except for that one drive, they really couldn't get anything go. Jalen Carter looked amazing. Yeah, Bryce Huff, I think he'll turn it around. I think it's kind of like again a defensive coordinator's job to get his guys in good positions. My worry for you guys is you guys kind of backloaded Jalen Hurts' whole contract, right? So like last year he was still on an extension, but this year he was only getting like 30 million, and then it goes up to like 70 million towards the end.
Where I don't concern myself with that. We got this guy named Howie Roseman. He's a
Yeah,
big
and he
Jew. My uncle said he saw him at the country club the other day.
oh, and he
So,
on the
we just
pod.
just let that guy do his thing. We're only concerned about assembling as much talent as possible,
Yeah,
which, and just to sort of end at this, if I was Howie Roseman, and let's say the Jets GM was Ethan Fiddle, I'd make a call and say, hey, that guy Hassan Reddick, who's not working out,
he
how
was
about
pretty
we take
good.
him back? You take our guy Bryce Huff, who's not working out,
Oh,
and I think both teams will be better.
that could be a good trade. I mean,
Could be a
I don't
good
think they've
trade.
ever been traded for each other before. Oh no, I guess they weren't traded for each
They
other, right?
weren't.
It
They
was like
weren't.
an opposite signing type of thing.
Exactly. But I mean, I think you got to look in the mirror and say, we made a mistake. Hassan, come back, pay the guy, all will be good.
Yeah, I mean Hassan was your best defensive lineman before up until last year, right? I mean,
Definitely. Yeah.
Fletcher, but like Fletcher was getting a little bit old at the end there. Yeah, I mean, both of you guys seem to need some defensive line pressure. So yeah, that might be a good trade for everyone. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's the thought.
Would you pay Hassan Reddick what he wants?
I mean, I personally would have paid him what he wanted from the start. I think edge rush is the most important aspect of a defense. And I understand that the idea of, oh, we'll get Huff as the cheaper replacement.
Right, younger.
Um, it's great when it works out. It hasn't worked out, so I think you bite the bullet, you pay the guy.
Yeah, I mean, like that kind of brings me to my next game: the Giants beating the Browns. The Giants got 8 sacks and were getting kind of pressure all day.
Woo!
Yeah, which was kind
Woo!
of causing
8 sacks.
8 sacks, and it
God
wasn't
damn,
just like
Big
one
Blue.
guy. Dexter Lawrence didn't just get like 5 sacks. It was like all across
Brian
the board.
Burns.
Everybody. Brian Burns had a sack fumble. Forced fumble. Aziz Ojulari, who's like always hurt, is finally back, had two. Dexter Lawrence had one. Obviously, this might be the defensive player of the year by the end of the year if we're looking at it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Kayvon Thibodeau hasn't, and I never thought Kayvon. That's why I don't have his jersey. I thought Kayvon Thibodeau is like kind
Whose
of
jerseys? Whose
pattern.
jerseys do you have, by the way?
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence. I
Okay,
have
big boy.
redacted. I'm not going to say his name, but the one that's on the Eagles now, that went to Penn State, the running back. I have
Who?
Saquon.
Say who? Oh, say okay.
I don't say his name. I changed in my phone. If I type out his name, it just changes to redacted because I don't want to hear
Yeah,
about him. I don't want to see about him. Yeah, it's tough.
he wanted to stay with you guys,
He did.
but
We offered him the same contract and he last year and he didn't want to take it. So who
yeah,
knows?
I mean, I was actually pretty inspired by watching the Giants' Hard Knocks because it showed me that I think I have the ability to do the job.
Yeah,
So
right. I don't get why you would ever put that stuff out. I get it. It was the first time that they ever did an off-season version, but like now, no GM room is ever gonna want to do that again. I mean, they look like assholes out there. It was embarrassing
yeah.
to be a Giants fan and
Hmm.
not much to help. But this win wasn't. This win was great. Neighbors looks like wide receiver one already. But in all seriousness, he looks amazing. 2 touchdowns, 70 yards. He's just been killing it to start the season. He has like a bunch of records to
You
start
know,
the season for a
at one
rookie.
point, I think Danny Dime, he was like, and we'll talk about Danny Dime coming up on our new weekly segment called "The Price Is Right." More on that later. But now
Absolutely.
he looked. I didn't get to watch any of the game, but I heard and the stats that I saw. it looked like he might have turned the corner.
Oh, I mean, turn the corner. I don't know. He's had 2 games in a row where he's not throwing picks. He's kind of completing passes. I think he had 2 incompletions going into the half. He was like 14 for 16 or something like that. He's kind of game managing, and he's got the offensive line is playing much better, which was always the problem. He never had time, and so now he's kind of going out there and I guess gaining confidence. And I'm happy. Like when you don't hear about Danny Dimes, it's like when you don't hear about uh like a pitcher or something like when if you hear about him, it's always going to be bad. So if you're not hearing about him, that means he's probably doing well, and all his haters just went back to the
Mhm.
woodworks. And Danny Dimes has had 2 good games in a row. I'm not going to say great. I mean, he's not playing amazing, but he's running the ball effectively to get us first downs, and he's kind of throwing it to neighbors and neighbors only. But neighbors, Wandell Robinson, uh, Darius Slayton, obviously,
Mhm.
always been kind of decent for us. So yeah, I'm happy. Devin Singletary,
Great.
it looks like he's pretty good running back. Not Saquon, but not redacted, but
That's all you need. That's all you need.
kind of all we need.
Yeah, I mean, I think we put a lot of pressure on these young quarterbacks that we decided that Patrick Mahomes is the best to ever play the position, and that's true. And we decide that everyone has to look like Patrick Mahomes and
Right,
do what Patrick Mahomes can do, and that's not true. I've my view really much shifted since I've seen the success of Brock Purdy, where I ask my quarterback manage the game well. Don't make mistakes. When you call on them to make a key play, they're able to make it. And just consistency. I think that's
right,
really the key. Just consistency. Give your team a chance to win.
yeah.
So I think the sky could be the limit with Daniel Jones.
I mean, I hope I. So that brings me to my next kind of game that I want to talk about the one that we saw last night with Washington. Like that's what I want from Danny Dimes is to be able to just constantly get drives going. You can't just three and out it. And I mean, Jaden Daniels looks incredible. Like I wasn't lying when I wrote this in our chat last night. I would go for it on fourth down on our own 25 with him. Like there, he can just make plays and run out. Like he looks like a fucking stud. And
Yeah,
he doesn't want to hear it.
I had a hard time sleeping last night after watching that game. He is going to be a problem for a very long time for Eagles and Giants fans alike.
It's in like now looking back to last week, we shut him down for 7 field goals, and he still was, getting to field goal range every time. But at least like the Giants defense was able to shut him down a little bit. So, kind of looks good. And we lost to the Vikings week 1. So like Vikings now look really good. Who knows? But yeah, no, Jaden Daniels looks insane. And
Mhm.
his offensive line is decent, but not that good. So he's making a lot of plays by himself. Um, good for Bob. They haven't had a good quarterback there. I mean, they had RG3, but like RG3's knees were paper eventually. And they haven't really had a lot of hope there for
Mhm.
years. So I'm kind of happy for them.
I'd say the good news for Bob is that Dan Snyder doesn't get to enjoy
Yeah,
such a great quarterback. Bad news for me is that Josh Harris does get to enjoy it. I fucking
true.
hate that guy.
But
Um,
isn't he
but
your guys' guy? Like, don't you guys love him for the Sixers?
no,
Please?
he's a scumbag. Not happy with the move into Center City. I think
Why
it's
not?
I think it's just bad for they're doing it in Chinatown. It's just not going to be good for the neighborhood. They're
You're
going
a
to rip
big
that
China
place
guy
apart.
too. That's kind of your community, dude.
I know they're displacing my community. I don't know how I'm going to meet my Chinese wife now.
That's
Um,
messed up, dude. Well, maybe that they'll just have to, you know, push the Chinese people into um the areas where you're living, and then
okay,
better for
I didn't consider that. I'll maybe
you.
there'll be a Chinatown King of Prussia. I'll stay hopeful.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So NFL, I mean, we got Cowboys Giants on Thursday. Um, Eagles play the Buccaneers. That'll be a good game. They didn't look too good last week. So realistically, Eagles
Oh,
could be 3-0 and could be 4-0.
one game I just wanted to touch on real quick before we move on to next week.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to give out the down bad award of the week to Bryce Young.
Oh my
Um,
God, yeah.
that was pretty brutal to watch Carolina come out and just demolish the Raiders. I could only imagine, think back to, young me, the girl at the dance picks someone else, and you're by yourself, distraught. Everyone's hyping your boy up. Oh, you got the girl, and you're just all alone.
And then
I'd
they
like to
go
get
on to like get married and have the most fun ever. It looks like when you're watching them on more
Yeah,
like
there
that.
was a question about true loneliness on the survey. I think Bryce Young is the epitome of that this
Oh
week.
yeah,
So he gets the down bad award of week 3.
absolutely. I mean, if there was anyone in the league that we should watch their pill intake or have someone drive with them, it's Bryce Young. Yeah, not looking good for him. And they don't want to trade him, so he might just be a backup for a while. If Danny Dalton wins the next two, like I don't know, like what you're supposed to do. That means it's all been Bryce Young, and this could be a fluke. It could have been like, all right, we got to do quarterback. Let's all play harder because clearly that it was like a change of pace. But if they continue to win, it's
What
problematic for him.
what song do you think Bryce Young threw on the car ride home? You think it was
Um,
something by Future?
I was thinking Marvin's Room by Drake.
Oh no! Oh, do you think
Just
he's
like just absolutely in his feels,
do
just
you think
like
he's sad, not mad? I'd like to think he put on Mask Off by Future or something like that.
oh, you think he's like fuck this, fuck it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking more like he had his opportunity to let out his frustration. So now it's almost like, oh my God, my life, what's going on? Like,
Mhm.
hmm, shut down a little bit. But
Just
yeah,
wanted like shout out Sam Darnold. He seems to be
yeah,
comeback
shout out
player
Sam
this year.
Darnold. He
So
looks
there's
great.
there's there's hope, Bryce. But this week you're a down bad player of the week.
Yeah, down bad player of the week. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so that's the NFL recap. Let's go into this new segment that Dickman has amazingly thought up. It's called "The Price Is Right."
Yeah. So just to introduce the segment, The Price is Right. We're going to go through and identify who we think are the top free agents at each position. We're going to have a quick discussion, and then Rochem's going to guess what it's going to take to get that guy. So
All
the first guy, there's not many quarterbacks that I think could make a difference. I'm certainly looking at the quarterback position, the highest scoring position on the fantasy team, actually. Um, so I'm thinking the top guy is Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones, let's go. Okay. Last week he scored 19.44 points, the most out of, or not the most, I guess Malik Willis and Andy Dalton both had great games. But yeah, Danny Jones, he's got that floor with his legs that you just kind of love. You just kind of love when someone can rush for 40 because you just get those 4 points to start it off. And those rushing touchdowns count for 6 instead of 4. It kind of adds up. Um, I think Danny Dimes is great. I think we're playing Dallas this week, and they might be pissed off that they lost that game last week, but their defense looks a little suspect. Um, and Danny Dimes, his connection with neighbors looks great. But at the end of the day, I think people do have their quarterback, so I don't know if they're going to spend more than a couple dollars. Um,
Oh, okay, that's good to hear.
oh, okay. All right. So
Write that down. Write that down. four
write that
dollars.
down. If you need Daniel Jones, just toss the bake on him. Where Dickman's gonna get him.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the quarterback position. That's for sure. That's the top
So
guy I got circled.
another guy I would think maybe because we changed our league rules, right? So if you pick up a guy that you want as a keeper, you get to keep him in the 10th round. We said we'll talk about it. I forget. But what
Did
about
we?
picking up Drake May? He looked decent when he came in. He also has that rush side where he wanted to run, and he's got the arm. There is no talent there, but who knows? Maybe Patriots go and draft like a sick wide receiver in the draft, and their offensive line gets better, and you're like, wait, Drake May might be a top 7 quarterback. Should I keep him for next year? What do you thought? What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are I didn't know that we changed the rule. So that's news to me. That's exciting. I think that's actually a very progressive thing to do in this league.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't think with only one keeper, Drake May is such a flyer. I think you know it's not going to be enough for you to win now. He's not on my radar. Um, if I was a team that had a lot of if the late round picks didn't seem to be working out early, then I'd consider it. But I don't think it's going to be a guy that's going to help you win this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's more of kind of a late season thought. But he's caught my eye. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in this league, and I'm honestly happy for them that they're sitting him out because I think that's been shown, right? Jordan Love, even like Mahomes didn't really play. I think he came in his like 14th week of the season, the first season, and played a couple of games. But I think that's kind of the way to do it. You kind of let your guys learn before they get kind of thrashed and get their confidence taken down, right? Like Bryce Young came in right away and looked like poo, and now he's got benched. Whereas you kind of got like Jordan Love, who sits behind Rodgers for 3 years, comes in, looks amazing. I think that's kind of the way to go.
Agreed there.
Anyone in the running back position that caught your eye?
Only name I wanted to mention, two names, just quick discussion for quarterback.
Oh
We
yeah,
could breeze through these. Andy Dalton. We're going to talk old, the old bull and the young calf. So the old bull, Andy Dalton, and the young calf, I actually had written down was Bo Nix. Do those
oh
guys do
Nix.
anything for you?
So Andy Dalton to me might be like he's playing against Cincinnati next week. Cincinnati's defense just got shredded by Jaden Daniels. And Andy Dalton has more experience that he can probably do the same. And I like the receiving core, so I don't see that slowing down. I don't know if I'm spending a lot of money because there is no rushing upside on him. But as kind of a weak play, something like that to spot in if your quarterback's playing against a tough defense, I don't see why not. Bo Nix, I didn't love him out of college. I thought he was um, a bit of kind of like a where he was playing merchant, right? He played in Oregon. He played before that in Auburn, and there's a reason why Auburn kind of let him go when he went to go play in Oregon. He had a great last season in Oregon. He was a Heisman candidate, but I just don't love Bo Nix. He had a great game last week, but to me, Bo Nix is like the bottom of the tiers. I would put Penix above him, and Penix is
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. It's interesting because I would have circled Bo Nix above Drake May
Wow.
and Penix as my, maybe he's with Sean Payton out in Denver. I subscribe again about with Purdy. He had so many reps in college that
Right,
I
that's
think
the
it's
tough.
easier to transfer to NFL. And he's got some of that rushing aspect to him too. So I think he could be a sneaky play as not a week in, week out starter, but maybe get him to your bench. Andy Dalton, I really can't see that continuing. The Thielen injury hurts, but guy put up a lot of points. So, maybe someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, if he's throwing touchdowns, you're feeling great. If he's kind of only throwing for 200 yards and a touchdown, then you kind of get murdered. Bo Nix again, yeah, Bo Nix. I agree with you. He does have that rushing upside. I wouldn't pick him up this week because they're playing against that stingy Jets defense. But um, you know, I'm sure there's weeks where Bo Nix will be just starting kind of quarterback in our fantasy league.
Great, especially if you have Anthony Richardson as your one and only.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, great keeper, dude. Eighth round.
I,
Hasn't done too well to start the season, but I'm sure he'll pick it up. He only played 2 games last year. Like he needs a little bit of time to kind of shake that rust off. He didn't look great last week. I have to say he had like this terrible interception that Fiddle and me were watching it together, and we were just cracking up at how bad of a throw it was. But
yeah, I think me and you jerked off more times last week than games Anthony Richardson has started in college and NFL. So whenever that number goes into my head, I get a little worried.
yeah, Um, I agree. I think I definitely jerked off 4 times, but yeah. I mean, Anthony Richardson is this kind of like phenom where he can throw the ball, he can run the ball. It's more so can he get that accuracy going? Can he get those mistakes down? And I think those are coachable. there's people with no arm talent, like I don't know, Mac Jones, that like there's not much of an upside there. Where I think you want Anthony Richardson to be your guy, and I think he is also kind of a fantasy guy as well. So I think he'll get you weeks where he puts up 35, easy.
It'll be the weeks that I put him on my bench, and
Yeah,
I'm
it
looking
always
forward
is.
to those weeks already. That's
It
that's what makes
always
fantasy
is.
football exciting.
All right.
So moving on to the running backs, really just a lack of talent at the running back position. Um, I couldn't think of a single guy. You couldn't pay me to roster any of these guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe we should look into not having an IR spot and so many bench spots, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, I think if there was one that would maybe catch my eye going forward or two, I would say Tyrone Tracy. The Giants love him, and Singletary's good, but he's not great. And Tyrone's been getting carries.
See, he
I
had
think he had a pretty
five
bad
carries.
injury. He's a rookie. We drafted him. He played wide receiver in college, and he's just recently converted. He played only that last year as a running back, so he's got like shelf life, right? He doesn't have all those running back carries in college that kind of wear and tear on you. And he's super fast and elusive, but he needs time. So I'm thinking this will be like an end of the year play, but I do think Tyrone Tracy's great, and I think he was drafted as well. I think Scott drafted him. And then the other one is Keaton Mitchell. Derrick Henry is amazing. He's big, strong, and
There,
great.
let me get some notes out. Okay, Keaton.
Yeah. But Keaton Mitchell was like a stud there last year. He would have like 5 rushes for like 90 yards. And I do think when he's back, they're gonna continue to use him because they don't love using Derrick Henry too much, right? They want to save him for the eventual playoffs, and they don't want him to kind of have the wear and tear and get hurt. So I do think having him as a handcuff, if you're a Derrick Henry owner, wink wink, uh, would be nice. We drafted him,
I
and
see.
we were like, we needed kind of other guys in the meantime because we have Chubb on the IR, so we can't really just throw him there. But he's a good kind of getting stash guy. Um, yeah, that's kind of
That's
my
great. That's great. That's honestly really good info, and I will look into picking him up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say there, like you said, there's no one really good here. It's kind of a bad week for running backs. Let's go through. Yeah, so I think that's kind of good for running backs. What are your thoughts on wide receivers? I feel like there's some good talent.
I
Um,
wrote a couple names down. We could start in Carolina with the resurgence of the Red Rocket, the old bull, Andy Dalton, and the injury to the other old bull. And we're running low on white wide receivers with him and Covey out, which isn't good. But I was looking at potentially Mingo Bingo and Leggett.
Xavier Leggett,
Yeah,
yes. I agree. I think they're both kind of good ads. I think Andy Dalton loves to spread it around. Deontay Johnson, which team Phil Rowe has, looked great last week.
he
And
did.
I agree. I think out of the two, I'd probably go Xavier Leggett just because I think he's a rookie. They're probably going to try to get him some looks. Although Mingo was a rookie last year, uh, but Xavier Leggett I think has more talent. Um,
Mhm.
I think he's great. I think he talks very funny. I think it's very funny to hear him talk. But I do think he's kind of a good play. Kind of like what do you have last week? 5.2, but I think he got like more targets. I remember seeing that. He's a good player. I think if Carolina can keep this up, he's definitely going to be a good ad. Um,
You got me at he talks funny. This is
yeah, right.
this is an entertainment league. I find the
Exactly.
entertaining players typically tend to shine.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly, and my thoughts on go the same with names. Like if you have a guy named John Smith, I don't think he's gonna make it in the league for some reason. But if you have a guy like Saquon Barkley or Xavier Leggett or Odell Beckham Jr., those guys tend to just be stars for some reason. Like their
Bucky
names
Irving.
kind of make them. Bucky Irvin, #1 fan. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that Xavier Leggett is a great name, and he's got great talent. and he talks funny. So
Are you dropping any dollars? I personally am not dropping any dollars.
I think there's other talent here on the board that I would put in the same kind of vicinity. There's no like been no injuries to someone on their depth chart, so like I wouldn't be like, we need to go get this guy. Let's drop $50 on him. But um, I would maybe drop $1 or wait for him for on Wednesday morning and scoop him up then. Um, the other people I see here are Andre Ishavas, who
That was the next person on my list.
yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, right, or 1 touchdown and just like a bunch of yards last game. Uh, Burrow loves him. T. Higgins, came back and he was getting looks, but I think each of us are still getting looks. We picked him up and dropped him a couple of weeks back, just because I thought Madison might have been a better talent to have on your bench, right, running back. But each of us looks great. Yeah, well, are you gonna drop any dollars on him?
I don't think I'm dropping any dollars on him either. Um, I think that they were sort of working T. Higgins back into the offense. There was an emergence of Mike Gesicki. They got this other guy, All, who I never
Yeah,
heard of, but they were talking him up last night.
yeah,
So I just think that the dominant targets are going to go to Jamar and to then to T, and then I think there's enough talent where the ball will be spread around and maybe with an injury to T or Jamar, he could have a good week. But if all are healthy, I just have a hard time seeing him doing anything more than 4 catches for 30 yards and
yeah.
maybe a touchdown at best.
I agree. I think he kind of takes on that Boyd role because he went to Tennessee, and I think they kind of have him as the third wide receiver, which they always kind of loved. That wide receiving core is just so good that like there's too much, not too many balls to spread around.
Hmm.
Um,
And Burrow lost his R ever since he went for that Slim Shady look.
yeah,
So
he looks more like Ellen DeGeneres than Slim Shady these days. I think he's got to go back and maybe they'll start freaking winning games.
yeah, he's looking like a Backstreet Boy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a good-looking guy, maybe one of the best looking in the NFL, but not what I would do. But how about this? If they make the playoffs, I'll go blonde as well.
I'll go blonde with you because they ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah, 0-3 start, not looking good.
You heard it here on Rose Speaks.
Rose speaks, Dickman talks. Tight end position. Let's go quickly through the tight ends,
I
and then
wrote down a couple names, um, only 2 names. And again, I mean, I think this is a pretty weak waiver wire week, but Zach Ertz was intriguing to me.
I agree. I think he had a great game last week.
Yeah, if I was desperate for a tight end, I'd drop a $5,
Yeah,
7. I think five. You should get him with $7, but
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
I think he's worth $5.
Rookie quarterbacks love their safety blanket tight ends. I mean, it's just like a known fact, and Zach Ertz is the guy there. If he goes down, look all the way down here. This guy named Ben Sinnott. They drafted him in the second round. He was the
That
first
guy
one off the
related
board.
to Kai Sinat, his brother.
No, guys, not. Yeah, I think so. Just a couple different colors, but yeah. I think if Zach Ertz, and he's kind of prone to injury. Uh, Ben Sinnott is a good. He was the first tight end off the board last year.
He was a
No,
Bob
no, no.
draft pick.
Sorry, Brock Bowers. Yeah, yeah. He was the first after like the mega stars. But they love him. And I've been hearing a lot of good kind of coming up. I don't think he has a catch on the season so far, but that's for later. If Zach Ertz kind of goes down, he might be a good guy to have.
The
Um,
only other guy I thought was interesting was a whole lot of targets for Cole Kmet,
Cole
who
Kmet.
I had and I dropped, but I think that not that he's going to have what do you have 10 catches last week. I mean, not that that's going to be a week in week out thing, but as Caleb Williams builds confidence, um, you know, he could have a favorite target emerging at tight end. I know Gerald Everett, I think, is the other tight end in Chicago. There's another tight end in Chicago that's competing for targets though. So I
Gerald
wouldn't,
Everett.
yeah, Gerald Everett. So wouldn't get carried away with it, but just another thing to keep your eye on. Um, I would put maybe $2 down for Cole Kmet.
Yeah, I think Cole Kmet's he had a great season last year. And I mean, not a lot of guys even have the target share to get 10 catches. So if a guy does that one game, that says something, I would definitely look into Cole Kmet. I would even put I would put more on him than I would put on Zach Ertz.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Cole
I
Kmet.
mean, I'd say this year, with at least in the tight end position, it's the wild, wild west.
Oh my God.
So, this could be a season changing pickup for you, a Zach Ertz or a Cole Kmet.
Right.
Um, I recommend the audience do their research before moving on over the tight ends here. There could
Yeah,
be a guy.
I agree. All right, let's do a 30-second quick piece on defenses and kickers. Anyone?
Sure thing. So I thought the defensive names I had circled. I wanted to talk about the riveting Monday Night Football matchup we have between the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins.
Oof.
Must see TV. You're probably
Brutal.
going to get like 10 punts in that game.
Yeah.
So if you like watching punters, that's the game for you.
Oh yeah.
My question here, Rotem, is which defense would you prefer?
Out of the two, I think both defenses are actually pretty good this year. I think Tennessee kind of stocked up on a lot of veterans, and the Dolphins, they lost Christian Wilkins, but I'm pretty sure they got another big talent in the middle there. I think out of the two, I'd probably go Dolphins just because I don't even know because the Dolphins starting quarterbacks look awful, but they have wide receivers that could take a slant to the house. Whereas Tennessee, I don't think Will Levis is any good. I think he had 3 good games last year, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is the next big thing." But I don't think he's good, and I think he's gonna throw picks, and he's gonna get you those turnovers that are big points in fantasy. Um, he might get you yards, but in our league, yards don't even affect you. And so I would probably go Dolphins out of those two. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but uh,
You dropping any dollars on either of them?
no, I don't like dropping dollars on my defenses. I think it's a waste. I like to
Hmm.
kind of save those for when there's a big injury in a position and I can get their backup. Having that there, and I feel like defenses it's also kind of a wild card whether they're going to do well or not. Like I had Raiders defense against the Panthers last week, expecting them to have 2 defensive touchdowns, and they got burnt and had -4. So you kind of never know. But there is kind of you could look into it and be like, all right, Dolphins playing Tennessee, Tennessee playing Dolphins. That game, like you said, it's going to be Punt City. So uh, probably want to go one of those two instead of like
Okay.
Bears against or Saints against Atlanta or something like that. Where
Yeah, the only other one that caught my attention was the Houston Texans playing against the Jacksonville Trevor Lawrences.
yeah,
And I say that because that guy is a jag. If I've ever seen a jag, he is
oh
just a
my god,
guy, and his confidence is he's he almost won down bad player of the week this week. He's a early favorite for next week, so that's another defense I'd consider.
yeah. If they go to 0-4 and he's has no touchdowns, 2 picks. I'm not saying bench him because you just paid him $275 million, but I'd be very worried as a Jaguars fan to be like, oh my god, this is what we just gave all our money to.
Ooh, that number's got to make you. I mean, I know me and you both feel a little better about what we paid our guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, now the 160 for Daniel Jones looks like a save and a half when he's outplaying the $275 million guy and the $250 Browns sexual deviant. Um, you really kind of look back and you're like, all right, maybe we didn't fuck up that bad. Um, yeah, and kickers, I mean, there's not much to talk about.
No,
You kind of just have your guys or you don't. I don't really change it up much. I usually try to pick a kicker in a good offense. That tends to kind of work, right? But who knows? Matt Prater.
yeah, I like Dicker the kicker. I started the season with him. He would have been just a permanent fixture on my team, but ESPN would not let me name my team Dicker the kicker.
Oh,
So
It's a guy's
Yeah, which is a little ridiculous in its own sense. I couldn't name my name Team Dickman if I wanted to.
yeah. What the hell, dude?
So
That's
I got a soft spot in my heart for Cameron Dicker. I think he's a great player and
yeah.
has
I
a
think he's.
and has a great name.
I think he's got a great name. I think if I could have that name, but just take the ER off and put man instead, I would. But yeah, no, I agree. I think you got to have a soft spot in your heart for Dicks.
Do you think his friends in college called him Dickers too?
Uh, yeah, honestly, probably that or Dick or Richard. If anything, maybe change it back, kind of convert it the other way, just call him Richard. Uh,
Richard, yeah. I'd like to know if I could spend some time with Cameron. I'd like to know his nicknames. See
yeah,
if we can bond over that.
maybe get him on the pod or see if he's got a cameo or something like that. You can reach out to him with. All right,
True.
that was a great segment. I like the Price is Right segment. Thank you, Dickman. And I think the moment kind of everyone's been waiting for, including you, because I don't think you've seen the survey. You saw the survey that was sent out before everyone else did, but I don't think you've seen the results yet. Uh,
I've not. No. I am curious with a couple questions here. I am pretty curious.
all right, so let's get
Let's
started.
dig into it.
All right, so we got 14 responses. For some reason, that makes no sense, right? Because there's 13 people in our league that me and Phil count as one team, and then the 11 others. So I think someone answered twice, maybe by mistake, maybe not. Who knows? But I'm okay with it. It's not really going to skew the data that much as a data analyst myself. I kind of understand data. Uh,
Hmm.
and I do want to let you know that there's gonna be clearly people that voted for themselves in some areas because I personally wouldn't have voted for them in any capacity in these questions. But all right, so best team in the league we have at 21.4% Team Philro.
Okay.
I thought we were going to have more votes. I personally see our team as really good. But I also see this other two teams that are up there as really good as well. So I kind of get that. But there's some teams here that like clearly the Duke voted for himself. The other 21.4% is Matt Scott. Um, I was looking at his team. His team's good, but he just lost Pacheco, which I think hurt him a lot. He had A Chain as a keeper, and A Chain's been great, so that's been good. But he's got some limitations if Pacheco doesn't come back towards the end of the season. And then the 14.3, Aaron Dickman.
A lot of nice people in the league.
Well,
A
there's
lot of nice, a
two.
lot of nice guys. A lot
There's
of
two
nice
people.
guys.
Can I ask you, did you vote for yourself?
I did not, and I
All right.
will tell you who you haven't spoken about, who I think personally is the best team by far, um, is actually Shikoff's team. Um,
Shake off. All right.
Shikoff's team with, I mean, if Christian McCaffrey, who knows what's happening with him, but if he
Right.
doesn't come back, then he has two top five running backs for the rest of the year. Rashi Rice is looking like a top five
Steal the
wide
draft.
receiver.
Yeah.
Godwin's been wide receiver one.
True.
And then just looking at his bench, I mean, goddamn, he's got TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Love, Debo Samuel, who all should be coming back in the next couple of weeks. AJ Brown should be coming back in the next couple of weeks. I
Yeah.
mean,
Shit.
his bench might be better than
Starting lineup.
half the team starting lineups.
Yeah.
So
And he's got Jaden Daniels, who's been fantastic. I mean, yeah, Shikoff's team is definitely up there.
with
I agree
proper
with you.
management too, I mean, Shikoff has been pretty active trade wise throughout the years too.
He's a good
So
fantasy manager, and yeah, if he puts together like a 3-for-1 deal where he gets a big guy, that team is fantastic. There's so much depth; it's scary. Uh,
yeah, I definitely have him circled as my team to beat. No disrespect to anybody else's team, but
yeah,
good job, Shikoff.
I don't know how Tall got 2 votes. I think Tall he also got votes for having the worst team in the league. I think he 100% voted for himself twice, but who knows?
That
Uh,
might give away who the two
yeah, because
double voted
I mean,
ones.
unless there's Tua's in this league and in his mashed potato brains voting. I don't see how Tall, but who knows? Maybe Tall's got some spots.
I could
And
see
then I
Duke.
think
Gucci, I could see Gucci voting for Tall.
Yeah, I could see him just throwing that in there, trying to balance
Yeah,
it up.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is a supporter of Tall.
yeah. I love Tall as well. He's a good guy, very tall, but I don't think his team's very good. He does have
Good
Bijan,
guy.
and Bijan's great, but
Good guy. Not a good fantasy owner this season,
yeah.
but
And then the other two to round it out were Andrew and Totem. And I think both of those guys voted for themselves.
now is Toad 2024 Lib of the Year? No,
No, that
he's
is
Zero Dark
Tall.
Totem.
Toad is Zero Dark Totem.
Zero Dark Totem. Yeah, so that Malik Neighbors over Devonta Smith pick is playing
No,
out to
no.
be the correct decision. So congrats there, Ted. Even though you,
He went with his brain and not his heart, and you gotta commend the dude for him. Malik Neighbors is wide receiver one.
I mean, I'd say you don't have to love it, but you have to respect it.
Yeah,
So
and he's got all the respect for me. Every piece of respect that I own goes to Totem. All right, worst team in the league. And for this one, I would say there's people that voted for who they want to have the worst team in the league, and then who they think is the worst team in the league.
is that me with the worst team in the league?
No, that is Ethan Hunt.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Same colors. This color scheme is a little rough, but yeah, I do think Hunt's team is not good, but I do think it's not the worst team, and I think he got some votes. I don't think everyone who finished the survey went through each team. Um, I think people have kind of thrown Han because he's a two-time past champion. Got to give him respect for it. They thrown him on the kind of the dartboard as like that's who they want to beat. And they looked at his team and they were like, all right, we can probably beat that team.
yeah. I mean, just looking at the team now, the quarterback position I think will be play out better than it has been. The running back position is pretty brutal.
Abysmal. Yeah.
It's a little alarming, honestly. He hasn't reached out to me to acquire Bucky Irving with Rashad White's job clearly in jeopardy.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Clearly. I mean, Rashad White's not good. Yeah.
and then the wide receiver position, Amon Ra and Garrett Wilson. Amon Ra's been good. Garrett Wilson, I know, has been disappointing this season.
Yeah, very much.
Um, I think that's probably going to continue, honestly, with Garrett Wilson.
I think
Um,
he plays really good cornerbacks. This week he's playing Patrick Surtain. He plays Christian Gonzalez twice. He plays the Bills defense, which are great twice. Um, Jalen Ramsey twice. Like he plays against really hard defenses for some reason this year, and he's getting shut down. And Rogers likes his guys, so Rogers loves Lazard. He loves Mike Williams for some reason now. So Garrett Wilson's just not getting as many targets. Although
mhm.
he's getting a good target share, so I don't know. Maybe he'll start picking it up. But I do
Yeah.
think his upside is his wide receivers on Hunt's team. But other than that, it's not
They'll
what.
say, Hunt, if you're listening, I could use a quarterback, and you could definitely use a running back. So maybe we should chat this week.
Look at that. And then the other team that got 3 votes for worst team is Jordan Bob. Um, I agree. I don't think his team's that good.
What a win, by the way, from Jordan Bob this
Right
week.
out of left field, it's just a very fun, loving name.
I personally like Bob's team. Looking at
I
it,
think, like I said it last week. I think his team's not that bad. But again, I think people voted kind of with their heart instead of with their mind. I don't think everybody
so
feels.
I'd say Hun now becomes candidate for the double voter because I could see 2 votes to Bob as worst team.
I can see that as well.
Yeah.
But
So
Bob
Hunt's
Bob Bob was 0-2. I think the other one is Tall and Lipson didn't get a vote, and Lipson's 0-3.
I
Great.
think. Oh wait, no. I think Shikoff worst team. That we know that's Hun. Is there
Yeah,
not a Shikoff worst team? Oh yeah,
yeah,
1 vote. I think we know who that vote belongs to.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't think J Bob's team is that good, but I don't think it could be like a middle of the pack, maybe get into the playoffs team if they kind of change it around. Um, and then Gucci, I thought should get more votes.
Oh, I voted for Gucci.
I
Yeah, I
think
definitely voted for
Gucci's team
Gucci.
is abysmal, and out of Gucci, who's a great fantasy guy, it's tough to see almost.
Yeah, well, I could
Yeah,
say
down and
that
out.
I had the first pick last year. I did exactly or pretty similar to Gucci's strategy. I actually drafted Josh Allen in the second or third round.
Right.
Um, and it was one injury to Justin Jefferson and disaster unfolded. So it's just part of the game. If that first overall pick doesn't work out,
Yeah.
and you're aggressive at the other positions, then you could be left in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah. And Josh,
So
I mean, he had a great week this week. He put up 140. Josh Allen, he's going to give you 30. And if he does, that pick works out. But then the rest, yeah, losing Christian McCaffrey is never going to be great. You don't have a first rounder. IU as a keeper, he's been poo. So yeah,
I think he'll be okay. I think actually looking at his team, wide receiver wise, I think he's in a solid spot with Ayuk and McLaurin. They're good buy low candidates, by the way.
yeah, I think
To
McLaurin's
win
great.
there. But you just can't win a league without running backs. And man, even if McCaffrey were to come back, that's a thin group of running backs he has there.
Yeah,
So
Gus Edwards is your running back two, who's a running back two on his own team is not it's not great.
yeah,
All
agreed with
right.
you.
Who brings the best vibes to the pregame? Um, for your number one choice, Andrew Shore.
Wow.
Andrew Shore.
Andrew Shore. Yeah. I mean, that's a brother at large right there type. Was he the brother at large?
He was the vice president.
The vice president.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Um, which means
that,
he got all the fun things without taking all the heat that Danny Schneiderman took. I think Shore brings a lot to a pregame. I mean, goddamn, is he a fun guy to be around?
did you vote for Shore as the best vibes to a pregame?
I personally voted for Fiddle. I think having Fiddle at pregame, talk sports with him, kind of he's a glue guy. He brings everyone together. I thought Fiddle was going to get more votes. He's got the one, and I think that's me.
I was between. I was going to vote Fiddle, and then I ended up voting Ted for the position.
Listen, I love all these guys. I think they would all be very fun at a pregame. Dickman,
2 votes. Me.
two
Wow.
votes. And I agree. I think the music talent, the jibber jabber, and just the just being a positive vibe is always fun to have around. So I totally agree.
Shocking. Appreciate
Teddy,
that, guys.
Teddy's got the three, and I agree. Teddy's very fun. And then to round it out, we got Hun voting for himself. No, I'm kidding. I love you, Hun. Phil, always fun. Maddie Scott voted for
Matt
himself,
Scott.
and then I got one, which I'm happy
Let's go.
about. All right,
Do you think we need to add I've lost count. I think it's now 8 people on e-board. Do we need to add a ninth brother at large position to the
I
board?
if I was able to get that position, yes, I would take it.
Well, that would you weren't the most fun at the pregame, so it wouldn't be
Oh,
you.
true.
Yeah, no,
Sure
no.
would be immediate.
Maybe sure. Yeah, I'd like to, maybe the league office of all 8 of you can maybe discuss if you want to have a ninth person join leadership.
I agree. I'm not in the league office, so I would love to hear about it.
We're just the the general people doing our little podcast. That's all I need.
I'm just a little G, just doing a little podcast. All right. Who do you most want to add to the league? With a surprising vote, Dia got 4.
Spelled his name wrong, by the way, in both capacities. He
I
would not
know.
be happy with that.
How do you spell Doherty?
Doherty.
I knew it was O. I knew it was O. Yeah.
He was screaming for 4 years about, you spelled it the girls' version. So
Yeah. Oh, Cassidy's wrong too.
yeah, no, this was like you didn't even know him, like you were going from
I lived with the kid for a year. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't have. I was doing this at the gym, doing it on my phone, so I didn't have time to go Google his name. That's on me. Cassidy, I love you, love it.
Cassidy Daughtry, good job.
But yeah, 4 votes. So I think we kind of know if anyone drops who we want to add. Noom got 3. I think Noom got 3 because he knows football. I don't know. I don't think he watches it that much, but he'd be fun to add to the league.
Oh, man, he's an all American. Good guy.
Yeah. Carpin, Trape City, someone wrote. Very funny.
Who wrote that? Oh, you thought it was funny? Okay, I wrote it. Now that you thought it was funny.
That was you.
That was me. That was me.
That was hilarious, dude. When I saw that last night, I thought that was hilarious. Will Wall, Kufeld, none. Someone said none.
None. That's just rude.
Just pick someone.
That's just rude.
Spiels is good. I think this is probably Shore who said
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say it's got to be Shore.
Wasserman probably Schick, and Joey. I don't know who voted for him. Joey doesn't watch football, but he's a good guy. Love him.
Well, maybe it would be a cool thing to do. We could create like a junior varsity league.
Oh,
The loser of our league switches with the winner of the junior varsity
little
league, and kind
demotion
of
actually.
like Division 1, Division 2, like
I love
share this
that.
up.
Wow, I love that. Yeah,
Yes,
maybe, yeah. I think we got to bring that up. That
but
sounds.
I think if we can, if these guys can all get together and form a league, then we'd be willing to maybe do it.
This would be the most horrid league to be one of all
Talk about a nightmare blunt circle. God damn.
including Nunn, dude. Nunn's a good guy.
Oh, none could join the league.
Oh yeah. All right, who's getting married next after Gucci? Um, I threw in Phil. I think Phil's a little bit further away. I don't know if Bob even is still with his girlfriend. I think so. I think they're like moving in together or something like that, or they were thinking
Lipson,
about
it's Lipson that's moving in with his
Lipson.
girlfriend.
That's who. All right, that's who I was thinking of. But I was worried because Lipson had a different girl. Yeah, whatever. Um, but yeah, the three votes pretty clear. Tall got four. Schneiderman got five. Shore got five. I think I voted personally for Schneiderman. I think Schneiderman's kind of
I did too.
one of those guys that's like stay in the hometown, kind of get married early, bump out like six kids, and work on a farm. Shore, I think is probably him and Tall are on the same kind of spot where they're probably thinking about it. But yeah, you know, good
I
look.
agree. I think it's Dan Schneiderman. And I'd be willing to
Put some money on it.
I'd place a wager on that.
All right.
Not that I've spoken to Dan Schneiderman, but the fact that I haven't spoken to him makes me think he's up next.
Yeah, exactly. All right, worst drug in college. Cassidy Doherty got 8 votes, which I voted for
Did
him
you
as
spell
well.
his name different on this poll than you did on the earlier poll?
Oh yeah, I did it with an L on this.
God damn.
um, I think Cassidy was, yeah, I think he was confirmed to be the worst drunk. Although I do think Will was pretty bad. He would just get kind of beast like. But Cassidy was as living with him, he was tough to be around. So I'm happy he kind of turned it around. I was expecting I would get a couple votes. I was kind of a menace when I got drunk in college.
You were a fun one though.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Who isn't on that list that I think you could have, maybe could have gotten a couple of votes is Milan.
oh, Milan was
Pretty
bad.
pretty
Yeah,
pretty
true.
brutal with you know, his habits, especially senior year where he liked to just sleep on people's beds.
Yeah,
Um,
he would like send us videos of his dick, and it was
I'd
gross.
say that if you were doing a draft in college of who will be the worst drunks, you would have got a lot of keeper value. I think selecting Hun, because he's progressed into much worse.
Yeah,
So
he likes to drink. I think maybe that mixed with the weed that he's now smoking because he wasn't really a stoner in college has caused him to kind of get frisky when he gets drunk. But I do think Cassidy in college was the clear runaway.
clear
Um,
one away. Yeah, no notes.
whose team do you most like to beat? Which is kind of
Holy shit.
yeah. I assume Hun voted twice for Bob, or we got like a Lipson voting for Bob type of thing.
And Chekhov, I mean, Hun could have done 3 polls for all I know.
But yeah, Hun was the clear runaway. It makes sense, he's two-time champ. That you want to beat the Chiefs, you want to beat the Huns. I would take it as a compliment, Hun.
Yeah, I mean, I voted for Hun. I when I think about the punishment, I think of Hun. So especially for me coming off last year, playing him week 1, there was nobody that I would have rather played and beaten. So that was a nice
That
start
was
to
a
the
big
season.
win. That was big.
That was a big emotional win for the team.
Let's go.
Um, Hun, I genuinely hope that you lose the league this year and fall from grace.
I agree. I
I
think
like you as a person, but I don't like you as a fantasy owner. So
yeah,
you're definitely my number one enemy in the league.
I agree. I think he's got the eyes of all of us. Two chips in a row is just gonna bring that out. So yeah. Biggest hog in the league, Aaron Dickman.
All right.
I thought I was gonna get at least 1 or 2 votes for biggest hog, but I ended up just taking them all for smallest hog. Um,
Yeah, I
Tough to
think
see.
the vote was skewed here. I was trying to skip that question actually, and then it
Yeah.
required a response.
Yeah,
So
we don't let the skips. No, we needed 14 responses, and 14 people think I have a small wiener. So stuff tough to go to sleep at night after that, but you just gotta take it. But nice on your big cock.
thanks. Yeah, well,
um,
well earned.
have you felt true loneliness? I thought
This
this.
is fucking shocking that 43% of people don't think they have. That makes me feel a little alarmed because I
I was
definitely
hoping.
have.
I was hoping everyone felt the
Have
same as I did.
43% of people just had a perfect life.
Right?
You've
Just like
never
you always have friends and family around you. Like you never.
you've never been, like Bryce Young down bad of the week.
Come on.
Um, come on.
Everyone's got at
I
least 1 week that they're just DB'd.
I think you 43%, whoever you are, you're lying to yourselves. And you know, I think it'd be, do a little deep dive reflection, maybe think about that answer because that's an insane answer to me.
I agree. I agree. I think loneliness is bound to happen for everyone. And I think the people that said no, maybe they felt it, they just don't know it.
They they're lying to themselves, and I take a deep hard look in the mirror and let's work through some of this stuff
But to the
because
people that said yes, I'm always here. We're always here to reach out to. You know, I'm always going to be a friend. So, um,
who said no? Maybe it's the people that are. How many girlfriends do we have in the league?
6 people voted no. Let's say that's 5 people. It's probably people with girlfriends.
I'd say there's a direct girlfriend to not,
No, no
no,
loneliness,
yeah,
which
yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, that's why I would love a girlfriend. But yeah, I'm
yeah. I
totally
think we both okay. I think we could wrap this up with me and Rotem would both really like girlfriends, and we do feel a little lonely. So,
if anyone's got any friends that are girls, send them
the
our way.
pod's honestly,
Especially,
honestly helping
yeah,
with loneliness. So,
if they're Chinese, send them Dickman's fucking way, please. Dude.
we'll talk more about that soon.
True loneliness, yeah. Reach out to us if you need some help. We're always here for you guys. Um, all right. My next question is Malik Neighbors ever going to be the wide receiver one in the NFL? Dickman, take it away.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. There's just so much talent at the wide receiver position. Um, Let me look up how old this guy is, but I think Justin Jefferson to
Yep,
me. I mean, maybe you could say Tyreek Hill, but I think Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, is the most talented wide receiver right now. He's only
I agree.
25,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I don't know if Neighbors will ever eclipse that, true wide receiver one spot. Is he a wide receiver one? I mean, unquestionably, I'd say a wide receiver one in fantasy, even. A hell of a player.
Yeah. I think, it's like when, we had Julio and we had I don't know, like Adams and OBJ and these guys were like anyone could be a wide receiver one on any given day. Like right now, I mean, Jamar, Jefferson, CD, like all these guys could be the wide receiver one. I think Neighbors is gonna be in that conversation. I think if we need to get him a better quarterback because I feel like a good quarterback to wide receiver Joe is usually how you get it, or at least like I don't know. I think if Danny Dimes gets to his ceiling, then yeah. But I think Neighbors is an all time talent, and I'm super happy he fell to us. I fell to my knees when we got him. I was super happy to get him.
I know the feeling landing that true alpha wide receiver one. We traded for AJ Brown.
Yeah,
It's a great feeling,
yeah,
and it's a fixture on an offense. So it's extremely important that you find guys like that. So
yeah. I
good
wish
job.
we had Redacted and him together because that would be kind of an all time duo. But unfortunately, he hates me and my family. All right. Next question. Better league to watch. I thought this is how it would go. 9 people said NFL, 5 people said college football. I don't know if CFL is college football. I think I might have fucked up there,
I think
but
it's Canadian Football League.
yeah, and I think people might have voted for that. I don't know. I might have messed that one up, but for
Yeah,
me,
they might have gotten confused. It probably would have been like 95% 50% to zero or 5% if they realized you were actually talking about college football.
Yeah, I think college football is super fun. I think the NFL is a little bit more business-like. So for me, I kind of like the atmospheres in college football better. But I do kind of get that people say NFL, you kind of know everybody. It's the best talent. It's the pros. Um, it's that like 17 weeks you play fantasy with it. It's like you know all your guys. Where college football is kind of like, oh my God, this could be like a 30-yard field goal for the win is still kind of shaking your boots. You still don't know if it's gonna, there's just a little bit.
I I think that college football, and I would equate this debate similarly to NBA and college basketball. I think college football has more potential to have the best game. Like you mentioned, I think it was Alabama and Georgia are playing each other. Um, my issue with college football is week in, week out. You got the Penn State versus Kent State games where that's just boring to me.
Yeah,
So I'd say, but I agree with you that the best college football game probably has more potential to be a better, more fun game than the best NFL game.
yeah. I mean, I totally get that. I mean, Penn State, Kent State, like you're only watching that if you're a fan of Penn State. You're not even watching that if you're a fan of Kent State once they're down over 14. But like because there's way more teams, there's more possibility for good games. I agree. And now with the new college football playoffs, I think it's gonna create kind of way more buzz. So I think it's gonna be fun when we get
Do
to
you
that
think that
time of year.
that sort of made the regular season less exciting? That like
I
Ohio
don't.
State is going to sneak in no matter what every year?
I don't. I think it just shuffles it down. I think PFT or Big Cat and PFT were talking about this, and I think they're 100% right. It just shuffles
Or
it down.
those are some of our coworkers or colleagues.
Yeah, our colleagues, our peers, we're talking about that. It just shuffles it down. So yeah, Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State are going to make it, but then what about those like kind of French teams across the 12 that might not? Those games become bigger, and so I do think it still matters, and I think there's only like 12 games, so like it matters even more in college football. But I think it's going to make it more fun. If Penn State gets a home playoff game, that's going to be the best atmosphere in all of sports ever.
Agreed with
Gonna
you
be
there. Excited to see how everything shakes out for the postseason. I do
yeah,
think it, to your point, it should make for a pretty fun and chaotic last couple weeks in the season once we kind of see how that's starting to shape up.
yeah, I agree. All right, favorite sport to watch. I agree with this. I think the NFL is by far the most fun. Just to sit there every Sunday and be like, all right, I'm just getting it all blasted on my face. No Diddy. Um, and I think NBA is coming in second, probably yes. The NBA playoffs are super fun.
Love the
I
NBA.
I assume this is Phil, and I assume this might be Fiddle. I don't know, or maybe Tall. I think Tall loves the Phillies. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think Bud Selig is voting MLB for favorite sport to
yeah,
watch.
I think he's going NFL too.
I do want to do agree with you. Love NBA, the star power in the NBA. I mean, in football, it's week in week out. Some guys don't show up. The NBA, it's a pleasure watching some of these guys play.
Oh, absolutely.
NHL, I want to give a special shout out to Go Canucks. Hell of a team sport, nonstop action for the most part. So
NHL playoffs is so fun to watch. I was zoned in. I mean,
mm,
that time of the year where it's like you get 2 games or 3 games of the NBA playoffs, and then you also get the NHL. It's just like, and there's no time like it. March Madness. I mean,
absolutely, absolutely. But shout out NHL, whoever voted that.
so
It's not a wasted vote. Probably
yeah.
Phil.
Yeah. Best sports city. Obviously, we're skewed heavy towards Philly. I don't agree. Obviously, I think it's a piece of shit town. But the where every like there's so many people in the league from Philly, and I assume they all voted for their own. Which that you gotta give you guys the credit for. You guys kind of are very loyal, and you kind of stick to your own. I missed one heavily. I'm just noticing it. Boston, and I think Boston is probably the best sports city. So I think I fucked that one up as well. But uh, Pittsburgh got three, obviously, because of the Pittsburgh kids. I think
Yeah,
everyone just voted for
not
kind
great. Not great data on this poll. We
of
didn't ask what city are you from. That
yeah,
was the question. I think we might have had some reading comprehension issues there.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean I voted Philly personally. You gotta vote for your own city
Yeah.
there. Maybe it would have been a better poll if we did not include Philadelphia,
Or
Pittsburgh, or New York.
yeah, I agree. I mean, then DC, Bob
I
voted.
mean, DC, yeah, like I mean, just overall, I'd say from the group, let's try and be a little less biased next time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's try to vote for who you actually think. All right, wings on a football Sunday or a blowjob. As most people know, I have an oral fixation. No, I'm kidding. But I think wings are great. Don't get me wrong. Um, wings are even fantastic. Uh, but yeah, you got to get your dick sucked.
I'd like to know how many people voted for, that they're never lonely. Also voted for wings. I'd be curious to know that. I think there's a
Yeah,
correlation there.
yeah. Like how many blowjobs are you really getting that the currency kind of goes down on them, and then
I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm very happy for you all that voted wings, but
yeah.
um,
I didn't know there was this many. You know,
to me, this question is asking: would you rather have a dime or $1 million?
I
So
agree. Wings, you can have it every night. The other one, not as
you
much.
real football guys, though, that
Yeah,
voted wings.
real football.
Real football guys there.
Um, when will this league collapse? So this was a fun one to see because a lot of 10 people said never, which is nice. It's nice to see that kind of we're gonna go old and wrinkly and still be fighting on to make sure he doesn't win another championship. Um, two people said 3 to 5, and two people said 6 to 10. I I voted 6 to 10. I
Really?
personally think, eventually when everybody has wives and kids, this will be a fun outlet, but we might not be able to kind of get everyone. And once you kind of lose 3 or 4 people, there's not really that many people to replace them with, and you can't really do an 8-person league. It's just not fun. So I think at some point this league might. I hope it's never, because I do think it'll be fun forever. But I'm trying to spark it with Rose Speaks and Dickman Talks. But being realistic, but have
Yeah, I,
have
I I have a hard time. I would have understood this question more of can you see yourself leaving the league? I could see maybe one or two people dropping, but I think it's a really strong core. 8 or 9 out of 12 team owners are actually on the official government board. So I think Bob's done a good job giving out positions of power to make sure that
everybody stays.
everyone will stay involved.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then the other two people have a podcast, and I don't know who the 12th person is. So
probably
yeah, I
Flo.
don't see this league
Yeah,
collapsing.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. But it's nice to see that 10 people think so as well. Um, what do you like what you do for work? I just wanted people to say no so I can feel happy about my own situation. But a lot of people said yes, which I'm happy for. I'm happy people kind of are enjoying what they do. That's how you live a good life. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I voted yes.
no, happy for you, dude.
Yeah, and we're hiring. So maybe give Giftware's company a chance. Um,
Absolutely, dude. I mean,
yeah,
listen, I like what I do. I just don't. I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna be on YouTube. So, yeah, I like what I do as well.
I'd say keep your mind open. That'd be my suggestion.
Yeah,
It's important you do what makes you hapi. So, oh,
yes, Lola.
Lola speaks.
Lola speaks. She was a menace the other day. Just got on our kitchen table and ate, or our living room table and ate watermelon off of it. It was
That's healthy at least.
yeah, but not you bad girl. All right. Did you listen to Rose Speaks week 2 podcast? 10 yeses.
We love our audience. We love you
We, lo-
guys.
we love our audience. I mean, we do this for you guys. This means the world to me. 4 people said no. You're dead to me. I hate everyone you love. And then obviously that's extremely messed up that you didn't listen to it. Uh,
Yeah. I just want to say for the four people that didn't listen, I'd like you to ask to, check your privilege. You could be a refugee somewhere, but you're in a fantasy league with a hell of a podcast. So why don't you check that privilege and give us a listen?
Thank you very much. And we're only growing. We're only getting better. I think this podcast, this week four podcast is ten times better than the week one or week three podcast.
Oh
For
shit! I
this
guess
week.
nobody listened to the. Is this the week?
No,
Was
no,
last
that
week podcast?
last week was the first one. That last week was week two. This is week three. This podcast,
This
this one
week?
is better than last week's by a million.
I'm confused. Is this week 4 or week 3?
No, week three. This just was week three. Now it's week four.
Okay. All right. I'll let you figure that one out.
Yeah. How many league members do you hate? So we got two people or three people that said everybody. Obviously, they're joking or they wouldn't be in this league. We take jokes seriously around here.
Pretty lowbrow joke, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I shouldn't have even included it, but I just wanted to, uh, offer all the choices.
5 to 8 would have been a good one, better than everybody.
Yeah, because then you kind of have to be like, oh shit, all right, I actually hate most people. None, which is nice. I voted none. I love everybody. Everybody's great in this league, and it's honestly Dewey makes it so much fun to kind of see everybody. And then three people said 1 to 2. You kind of got to understand where they're coming from. Everybody's got some differences.
Do
Uh,
you have any guesses into the voters for that?
I don't. I don't want to make beef where it's not actually there. So I'll just leave that to them. But
Is this one on YouTube, by the way?
yeah.
Ooh, okay.
No, it's true. I got 2 views on the other.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
but yeah. So there's a little bit of hate in the heart of this league, but most of it is it's all love.
Hey, but we appreciate everyone. The 1 to 2 camp. We appreciate everyone's
Yeah.
feelings, and we hope next time we ask that question that we get a 14 zeros.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate honesty and realism, and it makes sense. I mean, not everybody can love everybody, but you know, just talk it out. That's all you do.
That's right.
Um, do you see yourself dropping from this league in the next 5 years? So we had two yeses. Uh,
Yeah,
are you one of them?
I am one of them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Should we talk
I'd
about
say
that?
I'd say I'd say for me, you know, the two thing well the main thing that could cause that for me is punishment. I plead with the 9 members of the board that we remember the goal of the punishment, which is to prevent tanking. The goal is not to cause a lot of distress on the loser's part.
I
So I
agree.
ask that the 9 or 10 board members keep that in mind. That was why I said yes, depending on where we go with that.
I agree. I think the punishment should be more like personal. Like I thought the wings was great because it's like it's tough for the person that's doing it, but it's not necessarily embarrassing. It's more fun for everyone involved. Um, you know, it's I think it should kind of go that route. Um, I had to draft during my sister's wedding or the night like the 5 a.m. before it, which kind of sucked, but I get it. I lost. So I think we should kind of go more the route of maybe like we have in the works like a beer mile, which kind of just like is hard, but it's not embarrassing. It's kind of fun to watch. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and that's why not I could see myself. I don't.
I hope you don't.
So do you
We
think
love
you'll
having
drop
you.
in the next 5 years? It would have been a resounding no.
Okay.
But I will say there's a 1% chance, depending on where the punishment goes. That yeah,
All right.
but
I thought you were a man for doing it this past year. It was a tough one, and you did it, and
appreciate that. We're moving on to bigger and better, and we just hope the fantasy gods continue to smile down.
yeah, 3-0. Look at that. Karma has changed
Top
really.
top dog. That's right. Three
Top
more
dog.
halfway there to avoiding the toilet bowl.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
so we're
entirely. Yeah.
yeah. So we're feeling
Um,
good.
Will everyone in this league be invited to your eventual wedding? A resounding, I would say, heartbreaking, no. Eight people said no.
I'm actually looking at it with the glass half full. I'm happy that six people said yes.
I would love to go to six of your weddings. Please send me the invite. I'll be there. Um,
Yeah,
I'll I'll bring the fun. And sure, if he's invited, he's the life of the pregame. So, brother
and the people
alert.
that said no, don't even fucking invite me. I don't want to be there.
I don't want to celebrate you anyways.
Yeah, I'm wanting to
Um,
go anyway. So I'm expecting six invitations.
yeah, there's not much to talk about. I'm sure the league is it was waiting to see what that answer to that question was, and here is the question. I mean, here's the
Not,
answer.
not naming any names with this one. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. Do you come quick? This was more again for me to feel better about myself because I come so quick. Uh, no, super slow. We got a champion. We got one that's just an absolute monster in the sheets. Good for them. 6
Yeah.
for the average time. Some people said yes. I'm with you guys.
So I just wanted to talk about this really quickly. Um, Kaylee, the Nuru girl from Hong Kong, if you're watching this, the reason why I came quicker than you might have expected is because you were saying wait. I thought you were saying way, way, way means yes in Mandarin. I thought you were saying way.
Maybe
I
she
kind of
was. Maybe she
I
was.
yeah, she was surprised, so I don't think she was. But maybe choose a different phrase if you said, hold on,
Stop.
um,
Stop.
or or just stopped touching me. Then I think I may have been average time.
Listen, I
Um,
think for her, I think she was hoping for the faster. It's less work for her. Uh, Um, but there's always that Mandarin to
but
English mix
it
up.
was very confusing. She said way, way, way. She's saying wait. I heard way, way. So to my yes, yes. So
Maybe
okay,
she thought you didn't
yes.
speak Mandarin because you're a Jewish white boy from
She didn't
Philadelphia.
say a single word of Mandarin at that point until then. So I was confused why she started speaking Mandarin to me.
I think
Um,
that was a communication error. I think that's no fault on either of you.
but I would like Kaylee to know that I probably would have been average if there wasn't that miscommunication.
I'm
Uh,
sure she's gonna listen to this as well. So
yeah, so maybe again say hold on, or just a different
not
phrase.
now, not now. Yeah, I got
Yeah, not now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't come, don't come. That
you.
that would have
Don't
been
come quick. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
got
yeah. Don't come quick. Save it. But don't say
you. Yeah,
way, wait. It's confusing.
yeah.
So
No, I mean, listen, I've been there. I think I've been there almost every time. And so I all I hear in my head is way, way, way as well when I'm in the zone. And yeah, I'm happy there's a lot of other people that are with us.
yeah. And that's all I have to say on that, Kaylee.
I love you.
You did a great job.
All right. Will anyone in this league commit a hard crime? So for me, this question was about statistics, right? So, it's like out of every
What's a
people, one of
hard
them's gay. I was either like fraud, white collar crime, murder, just the hard ones, not like stealing a toothpick from I don't know, stealing a little knickknack from a store or some shit. Like, a hard one. And we
okay?
got six people said yes, which I do think statistically wise, it's just bound to happen. Who will it be? I don't know.
I
Thoughts?
think that you might have answered that as a statistical question. I would guess the other five had a name in mind. I'd be curious to know who they had in
I'd
mind.
be curious as well. I think we can add that to the next survey we do. Who do we think is most likely to commit the crime?
Oh, you do little league superlatives.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, fantastic idea, Dickman.
League
Look at that.
superlatives.
All of them. We're getting towards the end. Who you would you want to drop someone from this league as of today? We have four yeses to 10 nos.
So to me, that's pretty interesting data wise because then you would have thought you'd get four votes for I hate one to two people in the league.
Right. So it could have
So,
been a double for that. I don't
so
know.
someone,
Maybe
someone,
somebody who
someone
said
minor.
everybody was
Oh
saying
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
But I think that's, I wouldn't want to drop anyone from this league. I feel like we started this league super early into college and we're kind of all on different paths, but at the same time, it's nice to see kind of where everyone's at. Uh, but there's some people with hate in their hearts. Can't,
Yeah, I mean, I'd say even, even if you hate someone,
I wouldn't wish
you can
being
respect, you can
yeah.
respect them.
Yeah.
So, I think it's kind of good that, to have you need you have heroes, you need some villains. The sun needs the moon. So I think it's a good thing for the fantasy league to have a little tension. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think tension's always fun. It creates some beef, it creates some drama, and drama is always nice. But yeah. Have Milan and Chevelle Pork. We can do this quick. 30 people said yes. I agree. And should I do more surveys? 14 people said yes.
Wow, that's resounding.
So we got an audience that loves the pod. I'm sure they're gonna love you on the pod, Dickman. I think adding you was probably the best decision I've ever made. This has been 10 times more fun. Um,
Did you just give me co-host status?
I would if you would be my co-host, I would love to have you on every week.
Uh, it's an honor. It's truly an honor. This was so much fun. I can't believe it's 9:30. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
I know, same.
I'm starving, but this was a really enjoyable experience. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Rose Speaks. We're gonna have to change the name. Maybe Rose Speaks, Dickman Talks. I like that one. But yeah, no, this was a
Oh,
good time.
and we are looking for if you know someone who's looking for work, who doesn't care to be paid, who has a lot of experience, we're looking for a graphics person. So
Oh yeah. I thought you were asking for your family company.
oh,
No,
that too.
this company, someone who works for cheap to none, and maybe some editing people as well. Eventually, we'll get a full podcast studio going. So, who
Looking
knows?
forward to it. I know with my family company, when we need cheap labor with lots of experience, we tend to look. Oh, that doesn't care to get paid. We look towards China. So
Likely
maybe
overseas. Yeah,
maybe we'll be have to look there.
yeah. Maybe Kaylee, the newer girl. Maybe she needs a second job. She makes people come too quick.
There's no Mia though. She was no
No.
Mia.
Oh no, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the third episode. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Love you.